All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this morning's webinar. Just going to get a couple things cleaned up here real quick. I'm your host today. My name is Mike Garcia. I am the marketing manager here at iMatrix. And again, as you saw on the previous slide, today's webinar is on how to clean up your marketing plan. So we're going to go over some tips, strategies, things that you can do to basically clean up the plan that you currently have, or if you actually don't have a campaign or any kind of plan or idea of what to do for your business on how to market it, this is a great place to start because we're going to go over some of those things. So just a couple house cleaning items, just so everyone knows. Well, first off, if everyone can hear me, hopefully, there's a question and answer module that you can actually type into if you have any questions. Feel free to go ahead and just type in yes if you can hear me. Obviously, if anyone doesn't, that means that you guys can't, but for the most part, I believe you guys should be good to go on that. Also, on top of that, if you are going to be leaving anytime early, thank you for that, by the way, so you can hear me. If you're going to leave anytime early, feel free to do so if you need to. We're going to actually record this webinar, and we're going to go ahead and email it out to anyone that is registered and or attended. So if you have a colleague that might be interested, or if you know that someone's going to hop on with you but at a later time, don't worry, we're actually going to have this whole thing recorded, and we're going to have a question-answer section at the end of the webinar. And this webinar should probably only take about 30 minutes. I know we blocked out an hour, but we like to leave some time open for questions and answers towards the end. So feel free throughout the webinar to go ahead and type in your questions. If you do see something that catches your eye and you have a question about it, don't wait until the end. Go ahead and type it out. I'll make sure at the end to go ahead and answer any kind of questions that you might have. And if there's anything that needs to go further in depth on those things, we can speak offline outside the webinar, or I can direct you to the correct department if you have any questions on that. Okay? So again, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at how to clean up your marketing plan. Again, I am the marketing manager here, and so I felt it was fit for me to kind of describe what we do in certain areas of our marketing strategy, marketing plan, and what a lot of best practices are for small businesses like your own. So going along with the year, we figured it's best to have a little bit of spring cleaning of your business's strategy, if you do have one, and really kind of make sure that you're maximizing your budget with these simple sections here. So compiling and reviewing your historical data, that's something that's very important because you don't want to make the same mistakes. You want to make sure that whatever you're doing, that you're learning from it, that you're weeding out the bad stuff, and that you continue to do the good things. So in a sense, it's almost like A/B testing, and if anyone knows what that is, basically you try something out and you test it against another something similar but a little bit different, and kind of like a control group in a sense, and you basically see which one does better, which one outperforms the other. Maybe you're trying two different offers. Maybe you're trying a new patient special up against each other. One is 50% off first visit, another one is something else, and seeing which one works best. Understanding what you did in the past. If you have been a business that's been around for years, it's very important because you don't want to make the same mistakes that you might have made a year back or a couple years back. You want to make sure to just kind of move forward with that. Another thing is ditching the unprofitable or low ROI activities. So again, that is going to go along with the historical data, all the testing. You want to make sure that if anything is not performing to what you expect it to be, if you're not really getting a great return, it might not be a big investment for you. It might not be something that costs a lot of money. Maybe you're doing advertising somewhere that is very minimal as far as cost goes, but to be honest, it's not really providing any kind of return on investment for you in the end, so it's kind of a wash. So really the only thing that's really taking from you is your time, and of course time is money. So especially with you guys, a lot of the doctors out there just don't have time to do a lot of these things. You only have really time to kind of practice what you have, what you preach, and doing what you do best. And so whether it's you, whether it's your office manager, someone that works in your office that's doing this stuff, you need to make sure that they know, what is profitable, what's not, and keeping track of that. That way you don't just kind of throw money down the drain. Focusing on those winning strategies is important as well. You want to make sure that throughout those strategies that you have that are actually winning, that are working for you, you want to focus most of your attention on there. So going back to B, actually we have a little typo here. Going back to B here, you'll notice that, of course, anything that's unprofitable, you want to take whatever spend you have. For instance, I'm just going to use this icon as an example. So let's say you're spending about $1,000 on something that you're roughly getting about $1,000 back on. It's really just kind of a wash. Maybe just take it out of there and pump it into something that you know is going to work a little more. If you're getting something that you think is not as much effort, not as many resources, doesn't cost too much, or you're getting a great ROI on it, why not focus more on that. So just kind of remember where you're at, and things change all the time every month, so you want to make sure to kind of gear towards those things. Seeing what your competitor's doing is actually a great idea. I'll be honest, any marketing company, any company ourselves, I mean, everyone should be looking at what their competitor's doing. Not necessarily because you want to copy what they're doing, but to be honest, unless you are completely dominating and no one, well, even if you're dominating, you want to actually see who the guy below you, what he's doing, because you're not going to be number one forever. You're not going to always be at the top, and the only way that you're at the top is basically by making sure you're always above the person right below you. So unless you keep an eye on that person, you're never going to know when they might jump the gun and kind of knock you down a rank or two, whether it's organic on SEO, whether it's PPC, through AdWords, whether it's just in your local town and getting clientele of yours that you have no idea why they're not returning and they're just going to your competitor. That's an important thing to know. So keep an eye on them, just kind of see what they're doing, what they're doing. Maybe they're having some different techniques. Maybe they have some new equipment that you don't have yet. Things are always changing in your industries, and so you want to make sure that you are on top of the gun on that and not your competitor. Next is playing your strengths. You want to make sure that when you do something, again, you want to make sure and focus on what your strengths are and not necessarily put a lot of effort and time into what you already know are your weaknesses. Your weaknesses are going to be your weaknesses however long you want them to be. So you definitely want to put some kind of effort into strengthening those up, making sure that if you don't have a you have very good word of mouth, let's just say, but you don't have a great online presence, you want to really kind of still continue to do the word of mouth and do what works for you, but at the same time, you don't want to kind of forget all the online stuff that you need to kind of build up as far as your presence goes. Overall, it'll be kind of make more of an even strategy for you as opposed to just being kind of a one-trick pony and having just the one thing work, because with word of mouth, a lot of times that does work, and that's a great way to actually get referrals. Obviously, it's one way that people trust other people's reviews, whether it's family or friends. But again, you don't want to kind of put all your eggs in that basket. You want to make sure that you have other things to kind of fall back on, because with that, having one strategy or having one thing that is a strength for you, if that thing is gone, then you pretty much don't have anything. You might have a month where you're completely dry, or it might be seasonal, where during Christmas time or during November or any time like that, it's not as profitable for you. So you want to make sure you have kind of a backup plan of different areas that you can slowly build up to be your strengths along with that. And then last but not least is the latest technology and trends. This goes along with your competitors. Keep in mind, I mean, if you go to trade shows, which I do recommend, if you haven't really gone to a lot of trade shows, I do recommend going to some of the larger trade shows. That's where you actually get to see some of the big technology vendors. You get to see a lot of different competitors, maybe walking around you, seeing what they're looking at. Of course, being in the industry that iMatrix is in, we go to a lot of trade shows and we see a lot of competitors ourselves, as well as we see other companies that aren't necessarily competitors but have things that they can offer and different programs and different features and things like that that we kind of take, some ideas from as well. I mean, and it goes back and forth. So it's definitely something that's going to help you grow as a business and help you grow as a business owner, as well as, if you're an office manager, kind of help you position the office that you're at to be in a great spot so that when new equipment comes out, when new technology comes out, responsive designs, things like that, that it's important that you actually start at the forefront as opposed to kind of being late to the game on that. So first, again, we're going to go a little more in depth on compiling and reviewing historical data. So what did you do? What have you done over the past year? What is it that, again, worked for you, and maybe it's seasonal. Maybe, I'll use a chiropractor, for instance. Around New Year's time, let's just say November and December, definitely people want to kind of start slowly getting into the gear of working out and exercising and eating, nutritiously. But, I mean, it's the holidays. I mean, I'll admit myself, I like to eat, especially during the holidays. And November and Christmas are probably some of the worst times for people to, gain weight. So that's what happens. But around New Year's, around, January, all the New Year's resolutions, people want to kind of start the year fresh. That's probably a great year to kind of start maybe a nutrition or like weight loss kind of campaign. There's also, pet dental month, or, various different, months that you can kind of play with, that worked last year, that you can definitely kind of play to your strength for this year. So when you kind of create a plan for the year, keep those things in mind that might be able to kind of help you fill in the gaps. That way it doesn't seem like such a tedious task to fill out the whole year with a strategy or some kind of marketing plan. Remember that there's specific months that work for sure, and then after that, just go for the ones that you kind of tried and it didn't really work out too well, or you know a certain offer or campaign that you ran worked really well in a certain month, keep those, keep an eye on those. And I would definitely make sure that you keep some kind of document or Excel sheet or something like that to keep track of everything, because the longer you're in business, the harder it's going to be to see what those past campaigns have done for you. Next, of course, is make a list, and we are off on our letters. I have no clue, but B, make a list of everything that you've done and everything that you want to do. So something we do here at iMatrix, we have a quarterly editorial calendar review, and we go over, the next 3 months that are going to happen and kind of what we want to do. And so, we'll make a list of all the different things. Again, 1, that had worked. 2, things that you want to try that maybe are kind of outside of the box. And 3, maybe throw in that list some of the things that your competitors are doing, and kind of just create this long list of different ideas and kind of conceptual plans that you can put together. And I definitely would recommend incorporating, if you're a business owner, maybe incorporate the front desk or front office or any other colleagues or employees, because you might not see certain aspects of what the clients see. You might not actually see, you might only see that client or that patient when you see them, but it's a whole different experience when the front desk sees them. Or maybe, you don't answer the phones all the time, and the office manager is the one that answers the phones all the time, so they get a lot of the requests and a lot of the concerns and things like that. A lot of times people might be interested in something, they just don't actually come in. You want to actually know all that stuff that's happening, so maybe kind of conceptualize with a couple people in the office to figure out what you guys all know works and what you kind of heard doesn't really get too much traction, and then kind of run with that. Running reports is definitely important as well. Again, you want to put these things into some kind of Excel sheet. You want to put something together so that you can actually see what kind of ROI you're putting together with these campaigns, how much money you're spending on certain things. If you're doing flyers, or maybe you're doing some kind of advertisement, maybe you're doing PPC, whatever it may be, you want to keep all of that on track. You want to make sure that you know what you're spending, and you want to know what you're getting in it from it, and that way you know if it's working or it's not. And so these all pretty much tie together when you're doing these. And the next is, of course, analytics, website traffic, social insights. These are all analytical tools that you're going to need to understand how your website's performing, understanding how your call tracking is working. If you have call tracking set up, that's very important. A lot of times there's a lot of people that get interest from your services based off of different channels. Basically, if it's a newsletter that you send out, if it's a social post that kind of went viral that we had, maybe it's someone just finding you organically on the web and they're going through your website. Google Analytics is a great place because you can actually see which pages they're going to, and then you can understand if someone's constantly going to the pet neuter page, or if someone's constantly going to the frame selector, or car accident injury, whatever it may be. Maybe that's a page that you should kind of take a look at and concentrate on, and maybe put some call to action somewhere. Maybe put an offer on that page. Maybe kind of display it a little bit more on the home page. These are all things that are going to kind of help you out. Social insights is kind of the analytics of Facebook, and that's actually going to be something that lets you know which posts did better, which ones got engagement, maybe people had questions, which ones were shared, liked, commented on, that kind of thing. So you want to kind of keep track of all that. And I'm saying this coming from a marketing standpoint because a lot of business owners don't think in that aspect, and I 100% don't blame them. Obviously, you got to kind of go with your craft. You got to practice your craft. I mean, that's basically what you got the education for, is to learn that, to help people to do what you do best. This is kind of icing on the cake. This is something that's going to definitely help your business. But again, you want to make sure you're still concentrating on what your craft is, because that's essentially what's going to drive your business, is those happy clients, happy patients, referrals, that kind of thing. This is going to tell you money. This is going to basically tell you where everything is going and what you're going to be doing with your next couple months down the road, what didn't work for you in the past, what you can change, what you can continue to do, that kind of thing. So reviewing that historical data, again, is important, and that's something you want to make sure that you keep track of and document. Make sure that you have somewhere in your computer or somewhere, some kind of Google Doc. Share it with your colleagues, share it with your office manager, and if you don't have time, maybe task someone to kind of help out with that. That way you guys can kind of understand when you do some kind of quarterly meeting or however many meetings you have, you guys can kind of discuss it and talk about it so you can plan it ahead. Ditching low ROI activities, of course, is very important. That's something that you want to make sure you aren't spending too many efforts on things that just really aren't returning any kind of investment for you. Again, what's the ROI of your efforts? You want to graph that. You want to put something in line with your reports to see what works and what doesn't work. Yellow page ads, mailers, emails, those kind of things. Kind of keep track, again, of how many you send out. If it's an email, maybe how many people actually respond, how many people open the email. Yellow page ads, I mean, that's something that a lot of people do. I personally, I know Yellow Pages is online, but just the way that Yellow Pages, .com is and things like that, I mean, sometimes it's difficult to, once you have something running with them, that if you stop, that, you can't really keep it. If it's like a video, let's just say, I mean, they brand it and then like you stop paying them and then you can't keep the video. It's a little expensive sometimes. I mean, I'm kind of iffy on Yellow Page ads. It's almost the same as Yelp. People that pay for ranking on Yelp. It's different every state you go, and it's just kind of controversial sometimes with Yelp when it comes to that. So I would just be kind of careful with the Yellow Page ads online if you're actually paying for them. The Yellow Page actual book, it's just kind of outdated. I mean, people still use it, but not the way they used to, obviously. I mean, this is something that's been talked about for years. I mean, no one really uses the Yellow Book anymore. I mean, it's all online. You got to really kind of think of this way. People use their phones for everything all the time, and every single phone out there, I'd probably say a safe 99%, because I know there's got to be at least a percent out there that is not a smartphone, but every single other phone is a smartphone. Every phone has the capability of doing things that pretty much a computer is capable of doing. Viewing your email, setting up different RSS feeds. I mean, there's all these different things that you can do. And when they're searching for a business, they're going to do it through Siri on their iPhone, which does go through Yelp and various other channels. They're going to use Google Now. They're going to use Cortana, whatever kind of phone you have. But mobile search is obviously on the rise. It's huge. And it's one of those things that, a lot of people just aren't going to be searching physical Yellow Page books anymore. So think of it that way. If you actually are running an ad on Yellow Page, Yellow Book, whichever one, keep in mind the demographic of where you're at. If it's a metropolitan area, if it's like a very populated, let's say it's like San Francisco, let's say it's New York, something like that, I highly doubt people there, especially New York, I highly doubt people there are still using the Yellow Book. I mean, they're on the go constantly, hustle and bustle, they're on their phones, checking out, Yelp, they're checking out Google, Maps. I mean, they're doing everything to kind of find different chiropractors or auto mechanics or whatever it may be, and you want to make sure that you're on there so that way they can find you. So last, of course, besides that, last, of course, is ranking the activities by cost and return. That's the ROI part of it. You want to know how much you're spending and how much you're getting back, and of course, that's important. That's something that you might want to either handle yourself or have the office manager handle. It's something that you want to make sure that whatever funds you're pumping out, you're getting at least the same back. I mean, that's like the least, but I mean, you want to make sure to at least double your profit if you can. That'd be great. So, oh, and my computer froze. So, give me 1 second. Awesome. All right. So, 1 second. Right. Open a new one. So anyways, if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Feel free to ask away if you can. I'm going to go ahead and open a new one. There we go. I don't think that's ever happened. All right. So where were we? Okay. Here we go. Focus on winning strategies. Okay. So what works best for your business? So again, you want to see what kind of works best. What you actually know works best in your area is something that you want to, keep doing. You definitely don't want to, if it's not broke, why fix it? If you know, again, word of mouth is the best way to get new clients. I highly recommend you just continue to do that and even see if you can strengthen that. One thing you want to make sure that you aren't doing, of course, is playing to your weaknesses. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. If it's just not working, why continue to do it? The biggest thing that you want to see on what works and what doesn't work isn't something that's quick and going to burn out, like a flame. You want to make sure that it has long-term results. You want to make sure that it's something that you can see some kind of long-term residual on. And one thing that you want to kind of look at is, what works for your business? What works for the long-term strategy to where it's not going to take a lot of resources? If something happens within your staff internally and people aren't there for the long term, that it's able to be adaptable, that you can switch it up between if you have an office manager that maybe leaves and you get a new one, that they can quickly pick that campaign up, where you can kind of help show them or teach them. Document everything so that you know what you're running at any given time. If you're doing things on LinkedIn, if you're doing things on Facebook, advertising, that kind of stuff. You want to make sure and kind of keep a record of it, so that way you see long-term results and that you continue to work on those things. You want to really kind of see what adds value to your business. You want to definitely see what provides not only the revenue but also the clients, because even though it might be clients that just aren't high revenue, let's say they don't have a huge plan ahead of them where they come in multiple times and you'll possibly see a decent amount of revenue from that. You want to also kind of consider the number of clients, because that could overall in the long term result in even more revenue. They might have people that they want to recommend. They might actually have something that they just can't deal with right now, that maybe down the line they're actually going to come back and do a few more of your services kind of things. I mean, it's one of those things that we want to kind of look at as a meeting in the middle in regards to clients and revenue. And it's definitely something you kind of have to consider based on the industry. So it's a little different because I know we have multiple people here from different industries. So think of it that way on what adds the most value. I know like car accident injury, for instance, is a high dollar client. As far as also for optometry, if someone or ophthalmology or anything like that, if someone let's say needed to get something done with their eyes, let's say LASIK, maybe it's just someone that wants to come in and get frames. Stuff like that. You got to kind of consider those type of clients and kind of categorize them in that aspect. And again, the biggest value that you want to add to this whole thing is what grows your business. You don't want to just kind of overinflate your current business model. You want to make sure that you have a way to expand on what you're doing and grow the business in a direction that you feel comfortable with and that you think is going to be sustainable. So focus on those things that you think in the long term aren't only just going to kind of get you to where you want to get you to where you need to get right now, but where you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, that kind of thing. And if it's not a strategy that's going to take you that far, that's fine. If it's something that's going to help you and be a stepping stone to get there, that's definitely fine too. So the biggest thing I can actually recommend, and this is probably the most important thing here, is what are your competitors doing? This is definitely something that you want to make sure you are on the ball with. You want to see, what is the guy down the street doing? What is, the person that even across town is doing? You want to make sure that whatever it is that you have something successful on your end, you want to create something that's possibly similar, So think of it this way. You want to make sure that if you're doing something that a competitor is doing, you don't want to copy them. You don't want to mirror them. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you create something that's similar. So I'm totally going to butcher this. I think Picasso was the one that said it, but you think like the greatest artists don't steal, they copy or something. I'm totally butchering that, but the whole sense of it is the fact that you want to take something that works and you want to create it as your own. So if you see a competitor doing something, maybe they have an offer, a special, something like that, it does not hurt, and there's nothing wrong with doing something very similar to what they're doing because it works. And obviously what they're doing is working because people want that. And so you really got to kind of cater to your client, cater to who you're going to be servicing, who's going to basically be a residual client of yours, for the long term. Consider what they want. Definitely get some people to, leave reviews if you can. Definitely see what you can do in order to get people to tell you, what kind of things that they want. And again, the competitors are going to be the best bet to find out exactly what's working for them. And you want to make sure that, with all that, you want to kind of think of some new ideas so that way you're not always copying your competitors. You want to also be the person that possibly people are looking at as a competitor because, again, you want to dominate your area. So when it comes to different things like that, check out their website. Check out, different things like, I don't want to say secret shop, but, just like if they have some kind of crazy signage or like a ballast or something like that outside that they're doing, or even some directional marketing, some guys with a sign outside or something, and that's actually working, consider that. Think of whatever they're doing that's working for them to do for yourself. So, oops, there we go. So playing to your strengths, again, I know I touched up on this a little bit, but what does differentiate you from your business? What differentiates your business from the competitor? What differentiates you overall as a veterinarian, a chiropractor, a yogi, a optometrist, anything? Share what expertise you have, whether it's a FAQ page, whether it's doing a short video on your office, on techniques. There's actually, I believe it was I think it was a yoga studio or it might have been a chiropractic office that and I know I've seen a couple of these, but they have YouTube videos on stretches. It's real short, simple things on stretches. And I think I've also seen veterinarians do things like almost kind of like home tips, like how to brush your cat's teeth. Everyone knows how extremely hard and difficult it is to just brush your cat's teeth. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, showing that, putting ear, drops in your pet's ear or something like that. Different things that you can think of, or an optometrist. I think I saw one on how to properly care for your contact lenses, how, clean them, things like that. Whatever it may be, you are the expert in that field. If someone is going to go somewhere to ask a question in relation to your industry, who are they going to go to? You need to make sure that they know where to go to and that you're the person that they know that they can go to. Again, FAQ pages are important, not only for your clients and potential clients, but also for Google. Hummingbird definitely touches base on any kind of FAQs because people are searching more now for real-life kind of phrases as opposed to keywords. Keywords are kind of dying out. It's still important, but it's more so real-time kind of questions. Think of questions that people, and the reason it's catering to this is because people are actually using Siri more and Google Now more, but think of people that actually are on the phones. They're not going to sit there and say, veterinarian San Diego, and it's just going to pop something up. They're going to say things like, my dog has a rash, and it'll be like, okay, and Siri will do the thing, and it'll pull up some stuff because it knows. It's in the algorithm. It understands it. Same thing when you're searching for something, I have lower back pain, whatever it may be. Although there's a keyword in there, it's something that is more of a phrase now. So think of those kind of things where if you have an FAQ page, it's going to hit multiple facets. It's going to hit not only your clients, letting them know that you know what they need and what they want, but also it's going to play it to the search engines to help you out overall. So I think it's definitely something you should think of if you haven't already, is a FAQ page or even an FAQ video, if you can do that as well. And someone just, here we go. I appreciate that. That's actually great. Someone did catch me on that Picasso reference. Good artists copy, great artists steal. So in essence, I mean, I probably phrased that totally wrong, but that's kind of, I think, where it comes from. I mean, you want to make it your own, You could essentially just copy what they're doing, and it's, oh, it's okay, it's great, I mean, it worked for them. I'm just going to do the same exact thing, and it's going to work for me. But if you take it and you kind of make it your own, that's going to be where you see a lot of the competition out there. You're going to see a lot of people that have something that's similar but a little bit different. It's always that one competitor that just has the edge over everyone else. It might be kind of exactly the same, but it's just that one little edge that kind of pushes them over that everyone's just like, oh, yeah, like that's something I'm definitely interested in, and then they'll kind of go and see that doctor. So, yeah, definitely. Good. Thank you for that. Next, use the latest technology and trends. Of course, this is a big, big plus that you need to worry about. Definitely when it comes to technology, that includes everything from your equipment, includes everything from your website. Of course, your website is the window to your business, and everything from the way your office looks to collateral. I mean, you just don't want to seem outdated. If you seem outdated, it seems like your techniques and your services are outdated. So one, is your marketing strategy outdated? Again, that's what this webinar is going to try to hopefully help you out with. We have plenty of ebooks, infographics. You can go to iMatrix.com, and under the About section, there's, and I'll actually get to there in a minute, there's a whole section of different ebooks that you can actually go to and take a look at. We have different, marketing one-on-one ebooks, different things like that. Social media, things like that you can actually kind of read up on and learn from. Online marketing and SEO. Is what you're doing right now staying current? Do you have like an account manager, someone that can help you with your SEO, that help you keep that stuff fresh. If your website is stale and stagnant, it's not going to have that refresh factor that Google looks into. That's why blog sites do so well, is because their content is constantly refreshed. It's constantly got a new blog every day or every week or every month, and Google looks at that as being relevant content to whatever someone is searching for, and it's fresh. So there is a refresh factor in the algorithm that Google has. Of course, no one knows the algorithm, but there's multiple facets, and that is definitely one of them, along with page load time and, a whole slew of things. But you want to make sure that, if you have content on your page, that don't let it sit there for a year to 2 years. You might have something on there that talks about some equipment that you just don't have anymore. Maybe it talks about certain strategies and techniques and things that you do that you just don't do anymore. You want to make sure to put your best foot forward. You want to make sure that people understand that your website is a complete window into your practice. So keep that stuff up to date. And if you aren't having custom content written for you, definitely let us know, and we can actually help you out with that, because we do provide some custom content for you. So that, along with other techniques and services that we can provide you, or if you aren't doing yourself, is definitely something you want to keep up to date. Blogging and social media, again, blogging is the biggest content portion of, I would say, a refresh factor. A lot of times, if you don't have content on your website that's being refreshed on a normal basis, the blog is at least something you can do to try to help with that. A lot of times blogs tend to be things on specific topics, car accident injury, spay and neuter, cataracts, whatever it may be on whatever topic you have. That's relevant topics, and that's relevant content to what people are actually searching for. Maybe don't do it directly on your services, but maybe also do it on specific, ways to kind of handle or deal with, if someone has an issue or if someone has pain or something like that. Use the FAQ page, the frequently asked questions page, to kind of think of topics that way and just extend on a certain question. That's actually a good way to do it. And then also having your blog feed into your social media, which kills two birds with one stone. You can have your blog essentially basically be pushed to your Facebook page, so that way you don't have to do double the work. And it reaches not only the people on your website, but also the people on your social media page as well. Online video and video marketing is important. Online video is, of course, a quick way to digest the content, to digest the info. A lot of people would rather watch a video than read an article, which is definitely true, because, again, a lot of people are on the go. And a lot of people just, I don't know, I guess they have ADD in a sense. They don't. I have it in a sense where I can't sit there and read something for, like, I don't know, I can read something, obviously, but I just can't sit there and look at a video about one topic and then have a long one-page article about the same topic. I'd rather just kind of digest it quickly. If you think of it this way, a lot of people search on YouTube all the time. YouTube is the second largest search engine out there. It's owned by Google, and Google loves when you use their products. And it's widely known to everyone and used by everyone. And so think of it this way. If someone needs to learn how to change a tire on their car, they're not going to sit and read an article on it. They're actually going to watch a video on how to do it. That example I was mentioning earlier with those videos I had seen on some of our clients, doing stretches. How are you going to, are you going to watch a video on stretches, or are you just going to read an article and have a couple pictures on what the stretch looks like? I would rather watch the video on that, or how to, brush your cat's teeth or whatever. I don't think there's a way you can even just have an article on that. You got to kind of show people how to do it. So there's certain things that really kind of benefit with video, but not only that, it creates a sticky factor so that if it's on your website, if you put specific clips or videos on certain pages of your website, it causes people to be on the page a lot longer because there's a sticky factor. People want to sit there and watch the video. Now with the video, you don't want to have it be too long. You want to make sure and have it be at least a couple minutes, but nothing longer than 5 minutes. That's too long. They don't want to sit there and watch an episode of something, So make sure that you're doing that, and you're doing it to where it's in parts. If it's too long, and you can put it in part 1, part 2, that's totally fine. But just make sure it's in digestible pieces. That way people can just kind of quickly watch it and then move on. And then last but not least, of course, is paid online ads. This is something that will kind of fuel inject your presence online. If you're having trouble with your online presence via SEO, organic presence on Google's search engine results page, PPC is the best way to go because it is it's an auction system where, just like eBay, it's kind of like you pay to play. And so if you are, let's say, on page 5 and you just cannot rank quick enough, I mean, it takes a little bit of time. It's like a credit score. It can go up, but it could also go down, and you got to keep at it in order to keep it, going up. PPC is a little different. You pay to play, and when you stop paying, you stop playing, and it doesn't show anymore. So that goes back to what I was talking about with ROI. That goes back to talking about playing with your strengths and what works and what doesn't. Keep in mind that with PPC, you want to make sure that, you look at competitors that way as well. See maybe what their landing pages look like. See what's working for them. I mean, that's something that any business will do, is if you aren't on the first 3 results of PPC, which will be the first 2 or 3 results you'll see, which are going to be kind of in yellow or beige color on the results page. See what they're doing and seeing what works. Maybe try different keywords and different phrases and see what works for them, and then just see what they're doing, and that way you can kind of slightly mirror what they're doing, because there's no shame in it. Every single company does it. I can probably hands down tell you it's almost a best practice for any kind of business to keep an eye on their competitors. I mean, if you're not watching your competitors, I don't know what you're doing. It's definitely something that you need to keep an eye on, because they're going to they can blow up any minute. They can blow up any day and just completely overshadow you. And so you want to make sure that you aren't left in the dust with that. And last, of course, is the conclusion. We want to make sure that with all these different tips that you have, that you are keeping on track. And while we encourage business owners to continually evaluate their marketing efforts, to really ensure that you're not wasting time or resources, sometimes a spring cleaning is necessary to overhaul the entire strategy. So follow these steps that we kind of laid out today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in. But we laid these out so that you can scrub your marketing strategy, clean it up, and kind of streamline all your different marketing efforts. So again, we're going to go ahead and have this be a question kind of section, a little FAQ section. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and type them in the question and answer module. And again, I'll make sure to answer them throughout. And we'll have this again recorded so we can go ahead and send it to anyone here or anyone that that would be interested. All right, so thank again for everyone for attending. Appreciate all the feedback that we got. And again, we're going to go and end the webinar here. If you have any questions, give us a call. 1-800-iMatrix. We do have great internet consultants here. Everyone is AdWords certified, so we do know what we're talking about in regards to SEO, in regards to PPC. If you have any questions on what you can do to help get some new content, some custom content, things like that, give us a call, let us know, and we'll definitely help you out. So again, I want to thank you for everyone for showing up, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.